Mission Nari Shakti, ladies and gentlemen, is not just for Lok Sabha, it is for state assemblies as well. It completes the chain from grassroots governance by panchayats to the top panchayat, the parliament.
Absolutely. And our next guest, let me give you a brief introduction. Royal legacy, grassroots connect, and a strong political voice. She brings a unique blend of tradition and transformation. As a key leader shaping policy at the state level, she has been at the forefront of driving Nari Shakti beyond slogans and into real impact.
And the topic that she is going to be discussing is Nari Shakti in states, and for that I'd like to invite on stage Diya Kumari, Deputy Chief Minister of Rajasthan.
You know, given what has been happening in Parliament, given the stand that the opposition has taken, there is some chance that the two-thirds majority that is required for the passing of the bill may not happen, and the bill may fall flat. That voting happens only at 4 o'clock. Is there anything right now ahead of that voting that you'd want to say to opposition parties?
I'd like to tell the opposition that we have to think for women. They have waited long enough. It's been 3 decades. It's not about anything else. It's giving the women an opportunity, a platform, including them in decision making. And I cannot thank our Honorable Prime Minister enough for having the courage to actually getting this done. A lot of people have spoken about it. Many times it's come in Parliament, but now he wants it passed. I think this is his commitment to the women of the country, and he's living up to his promises. I cannot thank him enough for actually getting this done, and I hope the opposition understands that. And we have to, history is being made. Come on, be on the right side of history and not on the wrong side of history.
Diyaji, while there's a lot of focus on how 33% reservation will come in for the Lok Sabha, the fact is it will also come in for state legislative assemblies. Assemblies like Rajasthan, you are part of that assembly. How do you think it will impact state assemblies?
Yes, I think it will impact. Of course, we'll have 33% in the state assemblies, which is a great, I think it's very important because when there are more women representing the state, you know, there are lots of women's issues which will actually be coming up for, you know, they'll be able to represent women better. I think women, when they are at the forefront, they bring up so many more issues related to development, you know, health, security, safety, education, all of those things, infrastructure. So I think this will be really, it's very, very important. And Rajasthan, of course, right now we don't have so many, but in the future, hopefully, we will have 33% representation. We already have 50% in panchayats and 33% in the urban bodies. So it's a very welcome step.
So there are lots of people who will argue, all right, 33% reservation is being given to women in state assemblies. But look at just look at state assemblies across this country. Maximum, Chhattisgarh, 18% women. There are state assemblies with only 1 woman MLA, Himachal Pradesh. Mizoram has 0. Rajasthan, from where you come, has 20, which is about 10% of the entire assembly. तो सवाल ये है कि आप 33% reservation दे तो दें. But where will this leadership come from? Will it end up in, you know, politicians' wives, their daughters, their bahus, their relatives coming into the assembly? Will this be a case of proxy representation?
No, I don't think that will be the case. You know, if you actually see, where I've seen in Rajasthan at least, there are women are there to lead. You know, when we see our Mahila Morcha, we see when we go into the villages, there are women who are, now you see pradhans, you see sarpanches, you see jila pramukhs, you see mayors. They are women who understand what they're doing, you know. And it's about, and slowly the change will also happen. We need to have some capacity building, some, I think, women, when this bill comes into force, it becomes a law, automatically you will see the women coming in. That's nothing, no one should worry about that. There are enough women there just wanting an opportunity, and this will ensure that. They will not have to, right now, you know, I think even now, when there's a ticket being given, there are women also who are ready to take the ticket. It's just that they don't get the opportunity, the chance. But now this bill will make that happen. So this has to come. Only then will the women come. It will happen. I'm telling you, many women. There's no dearth of women, exceptional women, talented women, capable women to actually take this on.
You know, before we move forward, just to speak a little bit about you, you are Rajasthan's first Deputy Woman Chief Minister. You are the first woman Finance Minister of the state as well. What's the journey been like for you? Now, many people can say, she's privileged. But with that privilege also comes the responsibility, and privilege doesn't mean you don't have to work hard.
Yes. No, one has to. In Bharatiya Janata Party, you have to work hard, and in our party, any karyakarta, our Chief Minister, Honorable Chief Minister was just a normal karyakarta, and he's become the Chief Minister. Look at Pradhan Mantri Modi ji, he was also a karyakarta, he became the Prime Minister. So, with me, I would say yes, this is a huge opportunity. And finance is something which is always considered a male, bastion. But then look at in the center, you have Nirmala Sitharaman ji, who's the finance minister. She was the defense minister before this. So this is how the prime minister thinks. He gives these roles which are male-dominated domains, bastions to women. And then he look at the way she's handling it. It's amazing. And today I've been given this opportunity. I'm trying to do my best. And I think it's great. It's a huge responsibility. There's a lot of work to be done because the previous government really didn't do much. It made a mess of things. We're trying to get ahead of that and, of course, make Rajasthan a Viksit Rajasthan.
In the run-up to the special session in Parliament, all states have been doing these Nari Shakti Sammelans, and it has happened in Rajasthan as well. I saw pictures of you addressing many young women. Can I ask you what they are asking you about this particular law? What is their concern? What is their hope? What are they saying?
Each program that I did for Nari Shakti, the women, we actually didn't expect such a huge turnout. In our last town hall program that we had a big program in Jaipur, and we thought only 1,000 women, but in the end there was like 3,000 women who came. And you can't, the enthusiasm, the way they are waiting for this to happen is something which is unbelievable. And the questions, of course, they're all ready. They know what they're talking about. They know what's going to happen. And they are so happy. They're saying, we never got the opportunity. We can't wait. And we are waiting next time. Okay, from my village, I'm going to ask for a ticket. So-and-so said from this constituency, I'm already preparing. I'm going to ask for a ticket. This is what the women are saying. So you see, there is a huge, everybody is ready. Every woman, whichever age group, whichever they come from, whichever background, everybody is just waiting for this to happen because this is going to be historical. It'll be revolutionary, I would say, because when have women ever got this kind of opportunity at the highest level of decision making?
And when we talk about 33% seats reserved for women in the Lok Sabha or 33% seats reserved for women in state assemblies, it's not just, political representation. Do you feel that, representation that flows in from here then pervades other fields as well?
Yeah, totally. I hope so. I hope the private sector also takes this on because there is a huge gap there. It's not really equal where the private sector is concerned. They also should have more women coming in. And I hope after this, that happens. Various other fields where one just feels that, women are there. There are women who can do it, but they're not given the opportunity. It's all about the opportunity. So after this historic law comes in, I hope that other sectors and other areas where women are not really given the platform, the opportunity, that the doors are open for them even there.
Rajasthan has two sets of images. One, that if anyone wants to go anywhere in this country for a holiday, Rajasthan is one of the best places to go to. It's a great tourist destination. It has, it has forts, it has lakes, it has everything a tourist would want to see. But the second impression also is that it's incredibly feudal. I want to ask you if that is the case and if this 33% reservation impacts that so-called feudal mindset.
I don't think that's the case anymore. We have 50% women in panchayats. urban bodies also 33%. And, you're talking of maybe 40-50 years ago.
पुराने ज़माने का.
पुराना ज़माना, we had a female chief minister in Rajasthan. So, बिल्कुल भी नहीं. I think this is all, I think just ऐसे ही लोग सोचते हैं, पर ऐसा नहीं है. हमारे यहाँ पर महिलाएं बहुत ही empowered already हैं. इतने सारे NGOs चला रही हैं महिलाएं. इनिशिएटिव, हमारे खेतों में अगर आप जाएंगे तो वहाँ महिला काम कर रही होती है खेत में, पुरुष आराम से बैठे होते हैं पेड़ के नीचे, बातें कर रहे होते हैं, चाय पी रहे होते हैं. पर अगर आप फील्ड में जाओगे तो महिला काम कर रही होगी. तो ऐसा कुछ नहीं है. द मेल्स आर वेरी हैप्पी टू सिट एट होम एंड लुक आफ्टर थिंग्स और वट एवर एल्स, बट एंड गिव द woman, put her on the driving seat, she sits on the driving seat and he can have a little, on the side a little bit. वहाँ ऐसा कुछ नहीं है. ये पुरानी बातें हैं, अब ऐसा बिल्कुल भी नहीं है.
But does this 33% help change mindsets within households as well? I've heard you say that somewhere.
Yes, absolutely it will, because then they know that yes, this seat is reserved for women. We have to see who in the house or wherever. It will be. I think it will change the mindset of our society, of the country. The way people think, they feel okay, महिला है, बेटी है, इसको ठीक है, इसको पढ़ा लो. अगर वो इतना आसान नहीं होता, वो कई बार उसको कॉलेज भी नहीं पूरा करने देते, हायर एजुकेशन के लिए नहीं सोचते हैं, उसकी जॉब अपॉर्चुनिटी के लिए नहीं सोचते हैं. लेकिन इसके बाद वो सोचेंगे कि नहीं, मेरी बेटी है, कल को सोचो वो MLA बन सकती है, MP बन सकती है, इसको पढ़ाओ लिखाओ, इसको सब कुछ सिखाओ. She will learn skills, she will know how to handle administration, what should be done. She will understand, she'll be more, I think, aware of things. So it will happen. The change will definitely happen gradually in the mindset of the society and each and every home.
We've spoken about what young people that you're meeting through these Nari Shakti Sammélans are telling you and asking you. Can I ask you, at home, you have a mother, an aging mother, and you have a young daughter. Yes. What are they saying? What is their conversation?
Yes. No, they're very, very happy. And of course, I think every woman, whether it is, somebody from my family or a woman in my constituency, every single woman is looking forward to this. They are saying high time and they are thanking Modi ji from the bottom of their heart. Somebody has finally come. और मोदी जी के भी मैं कहूँगी कि उनके ये संस्कार हैं, जो वैल्यूज़ हैं, जो उनकी माता जी, उनकी लेट माता जी ने उनमें डाले हैं, जो आज महिलाओं के लिए सोच रहे हैं. अगर आप कोई भी योजना उठा के देख लीजिए तो सबसे ज़्यादा बेनिफिट महिला को मिल रहा है. तो ये, I think this is what has totally transformed how women now feel about themselves. I think we are way more confident than what we were. We feel नहीं, हमारे लिए opportunities खुल गई हैं. So I think whether it is my home or anybody's home, every single woman in our country is so happy that finally ये होने जा रहा है.
But, is your daughter saying, of course she has you as a role model, just like you had your father as a role model, but is she thinking, I know she's not into politics right now at all, but is she thinking maybe one day?
No, I don't think right now anybody's thinking like that. No, I don't think she is, but I think not just her, I think every girl in our country must be thinking that. I'm sure. कि हाँ, मेरे लिए खुल गया, मैं करूँगी. और अभी से अगर आप वो थॉट प्रोसेस, अपने अंदर वो थॉट आ जाए ना, तो फिर आप पढ़ते भी हो, आप समझते हो, आप न्यूज़ देखते हो, आप अखबार पढ़ते हो, आप बहुत अवेयर बन जाते हो. और बस उसी की तो ज़रूरत है. फिर अगर जब आपको टिकट मिलती है तो आपको किसी और की आवश्यकता नहीं होती. आप खुद डिसीजन ले सकते हो, आप खुद वहाँ पर विधानसभा, लोकसभा में अपनी बात रख सकते हो.
When you see a woman pilot fly the Rafale, there are millions of young girls who are sitting there, watching television, watching that young pilot's interview, fighter pilot's interview, and saying, it's now open, I can do this too. So I guess that's where the encouragement comes from.
Absolutely, absolutely. Operation Sindoor is a big example. Women led that whole operation. I think, yes, now we see there's that change. The change is already happening, has been happening for the last 10 years. पर अब बस इसमें थोड़ा सा था कि representation और होना चाहिए. जो महिला की आवाज़ है वो पार्लियामेंट में, असेंबलीज में और थोड़ी स्ट्रॉन्गर होनी चाहिए, ताकि जो महिलाओं की सचमुच में जो आवश्यकताएं हैं वो पूरी हों. कौन पूरी करेगा? महिला एक महिला को समझ सकती है. ओनली अ वुमन कैन अंडरस्टैंड व्हाट अदर वुमेन वांट. You know, even when we talk about safer countries, safer environment, we talk about health for women, not just women. You know, the thing is, when a woman is there as a lawmaker, she knows even about, she thinks like a person in the family does. So for her, health is so important, education is so important. Women have struggled to reach where they have, so she understands all those things. So when she will be there as a decision maker, I think it will impact the whole country.
So if it's a win-win for everyone, including our country, where do you think the opposition is coming from? Because even the opposition has backed women's reservation. They seem to be doing a strange U-turn at this point of time. Where do you think that is coming from? Why the opposition then?
I think because उनसे हुआ नहीं तो वो चाहते हैं कि अब इनसे भी ना हो. अगर उनकी इच्छा शक्ति उस समय होती तो वो हो जाता. अब उनसे हुआ नहीं. आई थिंक द बॉटम लाइन इज दैट इसलिए दे डोंट वांट दैट अभी मोदी जी की सरकार में ये काम हो जाए. Other than that, you know, they're going around and around. Sometimes they say something, sometimes they say something else. But in the end, you know, it's about women, you know, across party lines, across, you know, it's the whole country. The women आधी आबादी है हमारी. इसमें अगर हम लोग ये सारी चीज़ें बीच में लेके आएंगे और स्पोक डालेंगे तो किसका नुकसान हम कर रहे हैं? हम महिलाओं का ही कर रहे हैं. तो इसके बारे में सोचें. They thinking about their own political gain, you know, is so wrong.
Now moving on to the question of policies versus reality. Where do gaps still remain? Let's ask our next guest. Please welcome on stage Vaishali Nigam Sinha, co-founder Renew. And to drive this conversation, I like to invite on stage Hina Gambhir, news editor, Times Now.
What does this moment really mean to you as a woman? We've been talking about women reservation for a very long time, and it might, you know, become a reality very soon. So what does this moment mean to you, and why is it so unique?
Sure. First of all, it's an absolute pleasure to be here to, you know, comment on this very important topic. And honestly, I think this moment is momentous. It's really important for not only people like me in the corporate sector or women who aspire to go to the parliament, but also to the young girls who are there, who watch what's happening around them. And I feel legislation is one thing. If I could talk about the educated young girl, they really care about it. Because, you know, positive legislation really empowers. You feel the sense of, okay, it's my right, right? I'm equal to the other gender. And it has a very, very important impact on thinking young girls who want to be confident out there. So I think it's transformational. I think it sends a positive signal to young women and to corporate leaders like myself and to people who aspire to get to the parliament. I think a reservation of this sort is long overdue. It's been about 27 years, I think, since, and 7 times it's been gone and, you know, not been successful. So I really hope we are able to execute it. I think it does take somebody who's very determined to get these things done. You really need believers. I chair the sustainability function in my company, Renew, and it's clear to me things like sustainability and diversity and inclusion, it is inherent, it's in your gut. Like either you believe it, you get it, or you don't. And I think we are quite fortunate to have a prime minister who really believes that women, it's not only about women development, as we saw in the G20, it's really about women-led development, which leads to economic growth, right? And it is for that purpose, for us to be able to get on to the path of a $10 trillion economy, that we need women. Without women, we are leaving half the population, you know, behind. And if I may add, perhaps the more intellectual, as we see in our 10th and 12th grades, that we end up doing quite well, but because of the ecosystem, we do get left behind. We do need a structure where there's more equity for us to come at the same at par with, I would say, the other half of the
So
population.
you're seeing political will this time, and there are a lot of arguments from the opposition side as well. Delimitation arguments specifically. Do you see it as a derailment ploy?
See, I don't, politics is politics. You have opposition for a reason, and it's healthy for the opposition to ask questions, to put the guardrails which are required for us to be able to move ahead in a disciplined manner. So I think questions need to be asked, and I'm glad they're being asked. But at the end of the day, my expectation of this is to really get this bill passed. I think that is important. That is the important task in hand, and execution is important, and then the journey begins after that, right? It is after that that we see a lot of the sort of capacity building which is required, the sponsorship which is required to really build the pipeline and to deepen it. So yes, of course, questions will be asked, and we must have answers to them. And just like in the corporate sector, as a leader, as a CEO, you have to hear the sort of feedback from inside, you have to take feedback from outside, from the board, and then you can move ahead with your decisions and your vision. So if we are doing that, and if that's happening, I hope it's healthy, but I hope it's not a deterrent and not a roadblock.
Okay. Let's also try and understand what this delay has, caused us. What has been the impact of this delay on the India story? Because if you're talking about 50% of our population, we're also talking about 50% of our country's potential that has not been used, properly. I was just looking at some data. There are some 74 women MPs in Lok Sabha today, and out of 4,100 odd MLAs that we have across India, there are just 450 women. So in your opinion, how has this women power deficit really impacted the India story?
Sure, no, and I think that's a great question, and I'd like to borrow from the experiences of countries from around the world, and let's look at Rwanda. A country which has 60%, the highest representation of parliamentarians anywhere in the world. And what one saw there was that as the sort of, number of women in parliament increased, the impact on your environment-related social issues, education-related issues and policies became way more expansive and, way more implemented, which means that the socio-economic development of a country benefits from women-led development.